So I'm really happy to have Kim Thompson Pinder on the actual podcast today. She's got a community called Circular Machine Knitting, and it's one of the top, you can correct me on this actually, Kim, it's one of the top communities in the hobby niche. Is that correct, on Skool? Really happy to have you on here today. We're going to go through where you came from, where you started and where you are now. And there's a few little bonus tips along the way as well. So Kim, thanks so much for being on the podcast today.
Well, you're so welcome, Des. And yes, we are number 8 in all of English-speaking hobby communities on Skool. But here's the other one. We are currently number 57 globally across all Skool
That's
communities.
crazy. Well, look, congratulations. We're going to come to that. What I want to do is I want to wind things back a little bit and let's go to right to the very beginning. Let's talk Facebook, because I believe obviously you've got obviously history of business, but I think regarding communities, Facebook is where it all started really for you. If you can basically tell us about how you set up your community on Facebook and the transition you made from Facebook to Skool.
It was actually more a transition from YouTube to start
Okay,
with.
all right, let's go YouTube. I'm happy with that.
When I've knitted since I was 5 years old. I learned to knit at my grandmother's knee. I had knitted off and on, through my teenage years. Took it up when I was 20 and pregnant. I've knitted off and on pretty well my whole life. And back in 2024, we had moved across the country, across Canada. I didn't know a lot of people. I was feeling kind of lonely and isolated. And when I do that, I pick up a new craft. And even though I had knitted, I had just started seeing these circular knitting machines. And I looked at my husband and he's like, "Will it make you happy?" I think so. He's like, "Okay, get one." So I got them. And, immediately I was hooked right from the very beginning. I'm like, "Oh man, I love this. It's so much faster than hand knitting." And because I've done this my whole life, most of the times I don't find patterns for what I want. So, I've knitted for so long, I just make up my own patterns. And so I decided, well, if I'm going to make up my own patterns, I might as well film them, put them on YouTube, and maybe someday, get monetized. And so I started doing that. And so my first thing was actually YouTube, and then I was in a bunch of Facebook groups. I didn't have my own to begin with, and then a lady from one of a smaller growing one asked me if I wanted to help admin her group. So I started there, and then September of last year, one of the main people in the niche contacted me, and my goal was to start my own Facebook group. That was going to be a 2026 goal, was to start my own. But she had a massive YouTube channel and a massive Facebook group and was struggling to do both, and felt that she needed to give up her Facebook group. So within 2 hours, with no warning, no nothing, she handed me a 25,000 person Facebook group. So I don't have the normal journey. So, I can't sit there and say, I struggled and all this stuff. It literally was a blessing from God plopped into my lap.
No, it could have been easy taking over somebody's group though, right? I mean, obviously I'm assuming she made like some sort of announcement in the group to say that she was leaving the group, and obviously you were taking over, but it couldn't have been easy for you to then jump in her shoes and take over her community.
No, it wasn't, because her Facebook group people were so loyal to her, but she had already told them she was going to have to shut down the Facebook group, and they were telling her they didn't want the Facebook group shut down. So, basically she said to them, I can't do both, right? So she basically said, this is the solution. I'm giving the group to Kim. She's got her own YouTube channel. Like, I've checked her out, all these kinds of things. And no, it wasn't easy, because they're incredibly loyal to her. And her Facebook group was very specific to her YouTube channel, her patterns, and I had a different vision. So there were people that left, and that was fine. There were people who stayed, but engagement dropped because I'm not her, and I'm very different than her. But I just over, the first few weeks, I shared my vision with them, what I wanted to see in the group, you know, um, I honored the previous Facebook group owner continuously, while promoting my new
Mhm.
vision, honoring what she had done in the past so that, it was a bit of an easier
Of course.
transition. But I had two goals for 2026, and that was to start a Facebook group and start some sort of community. And I hadn't fully decided, which platform in that. I was researching a lot, and I've known a lot over the years, uh, because I've been an entrepreneur for over 30
Sure.
years. So you study this stuff. You're always looking
Of course.
for how you're going to monetize
Yep.
things. So that was actually the goal for 2026, but the plans got moved forward when I inherited that group.
Excellent. So you've got the group now. It's going well. How did you come across Skool? Where does Skool fit into those plans? Because most people have 25,000 people group is huge. I don't suppose you don't even have another community on your radar because it's such a big community. How did Skool come into that?
So it came in a few different ways. First of all, my YouTube channel wasn't monetizing as anywhere near as quickly as I wanted. And I was actually posting my patterns on Etsy and selling them there as
Right.
well. Was starting to develop a relationship with one of the main yarn companies, so there was some movement
Okay.
there. But I had decided that I wanted to do like a digital product Etsy shop. So I found out about Skool because all the people I was learning from how to open up this digital shop all had schools. So I was actually on Skool just as a participant, and so because I had already experienced Skool, it was one of the ones I seriously
Hmm.
considered. And when I actually looked at what you were getting, for the cost and these different things, and I was already familiar with Skool, and I recognized it was so much easier to start a school than some of the other options I had looked
Okay.
at. And for what I was paying and what I was getting, plus I had been studying Skool long enough that I knew that tiers were
Sure.
coming, because I didn't want to start the free group and then have to start a paid
Hmm.
group. I didn't want to have to do two
Okay.
groups. So, but I knew that, you know, Skool was planning the tiers all into one group, and it was probably going to be within a month to 6 weeks of when I started. So I'm like, okay, that was kind of the final deciding factor, was the fact that they were upgrading that,
Excellent.
and that's kind of made me decide that I wanted to go to Skool. But one of the main reasons I took it off Facebook is I don't own that
Of
Facebook
course.
group. Facebook
Yes.
does. And many, many years ago, I ended up in Facebook jail. They never told me why. They just said I broke the rules, but they would never tell me actually which rule I broke and how I broke it. But I ended up in Facebook jail for about a week.
I did not know that. That's crazy.
And basically I couldn't post, I couldn't comment, like I could scroll, I couldn't do anything else, couldn't message people. And I thought, this is nuts. And I've heard of people who had massive Facebook groups in the thousands of people, and all of a sudden Facebook goes, I don't like you anymore,
Yeah.
shuts the group
Pretty
down.
much.
So one thing I had, I've always known for many, many years that, Facebook, YouTube, all of those things, you have to get people off of it. So you either got to get their email addresses to build out an email list, or you have to have them someplace else that you
Hmm.
own. So for me, it was going to be a community, and I had considered Circle. I had checked Circle out. I actually tried it out for something previous. It was too complicated. I had looked at doing one on, my WordPress site. So, I had checked out all the different options. But Skool was just going to be the easiest.
Okay. And there's quite a few people that are actually in a similar position at the moment. So they have a Facebook group and they're actually looking to migrate those members over to Skool. Now, it sounds simple enough, but I'm guessing it wasn't that simple to do, right?
Well, you have to position your school to meet a certain
Right.
need. So before I started the school, I actually, as a publisher, um, because that's my main trade as a
Hmm.
publisher, I work with my clients to help determine their perfect reader avatar. Now, the people I work with in my publishing company are high level consultants, coaches, speakers, people like that who are looking to use their book to promote and market their business. So they're not writing this book to everyone. They have to write this book to
Okay.
someone, and it has to be effective. It has to understand that person. And so one of the things that my clients use in some of the initial things, we never use it to write books or anything else like that. But ChatGPT is actually really, really good at helping you clarify your avatar, especially if you ask it the right questions. And so I've learned, how to ask the right questions of ChatGPT to help, get this avatar, and not just the general stuff, deep down into the pain points, their concerns, their mindsets, all these kinds of things that you need to understand. So before I started my school community, I created 2 avatars, which I felt would best represent what the school community was. First of all, beginners. So, uh, people who just got a circular knitting machine and don't know what to do. The second one was people who, knew how to use their machine but wanted to expand their skills. So I created 2 different avatars that would represent who was in my community. And so when I started the community, I put in a beginner's course. And, the beginner's course covered everything that they needed to know, all the pitfalls, all the stuff that nobody ever explains to them, all the problems, all the issues. I go through everything. And, when I do the videos, I did everything really slowly. So, you're watching me step by step do things, and I explain the concepts that nobody else does. So I had that. But then for the people who were already experienced, I created a free pattern library. And it only had a few patterns in it. It's not like I had this extensive library, but each month I release one new thing for them, one new pattern. So that was where I started. And, I just started telling beginners, hey, I've got this full beginner's course that covers everything you need to successfully complete your first 2 projects. And then I have a free pattern library to continue your journey from
Okay.
there.
So,
Can you tell I've said that a few times?
a few times, yeah, I can tell. But what I was going to say is, I know one of the reasons why people are moving from Facebook to Skool was one of the main reasons was the reach on Facebook is really bad, and a lot of people were saying that what Facebook are looking to do is actually looking for the owners to actually advertise in their own in their own Facebook communities. So the question I'm probably asking is, you've got 25,000 members in there. How did you, when you put a post out, how many people were you reaching? How many people actually saw that post that you put out that you're looking to actually start a new school community, and whether they'd be interested in that?
Only hundreds.
Out of 25,000. That's crazy.
Yeah. So the thing is I posted for a few weeks before I started the school
Right.
community. So I was preparing people for what I was doing. So I didn't just start it and start advertising it. I shared with them, why I was starting the school community. I shared with them the fact that Facebook could close this group down at any time that they wanted to. So I shared the reasons why I was, trying to get them off of Facebook. And I also shared the fact that, a school community was everything was in one place. Because, see, Facebook groups, you can post patterns, but they're not in one place. They're hard to find, right? Or you got to scan back through hundreds
Hundred
of
posts,
posts
yeah.
to find that post about it. So I shared with them that, the school community, everything is in one place. It's easy to find. All you've got to do is go in there. If you're looking for a pattern, you go to the classroom tab, you find, the patterns tab, the patterns are there. So I just started sharing those types of things with them before I I opened up the Skool
Right.
community. I mean, I was working on stuff for the Skool community, but I hadn't officially started it yet.
Okay. Right. So we're going to fast forward now. You've got your Skool community. You've got your members in there. So when you transitioned, when you first started, how many members did you get in initially? I don't think I know that.
I don't know the exact number, but I think within the first few days I had probably about 50 members.
Okay. All right. So that's quite a modest start then, really. Where you are
Yeah,
now, I mean, that's not.
Yeah, and the thing is this was all coming from Facebook
Sure.
groups, so
So they're just trickling in slowly,
the
just keep ticking up.
yeah.
Yeah. So you're now at, I haven't checked, is it 1,200 members? So when you first started your Skool community, you started at 50, or you had 50 come in initially, and then obviously it ticked up. Now you're at 1,200, which is absolutely amazing. Congratulations on that, by the way. And you're now in, can you give me that statistic again? The top, you said you're in the top percentage of Skool communities. Can you just give me that stat again?
So we're number 8 in all English-speaking hobby communities, and we're number 57 globally.
Did you ever dream that was going to happen when you started your Skool community? That's crazy.
To be honest, I didn't even really understand what discovery was.
That's crazy.
Like I didn't know. I just happened to be going through all the back tabs, and I saw this discovery one, and I opened it up, and it basically explained that if I wanted to be discoverable by other people on Skool, which I knew about because having been in other communities, I knew you could search for other things, but I didn't know what that was called. So when I saw what the discovery was and the requirements, I'm like, okay, so I can make sure I have a really good about page. I definitely have an interesting niche. It's not a common niche. And then basically they said, it was me engaging and the community engaging. Well, I could do 3 out of the 4.
Sure.
I could have a great about page. Could have an interesting niche. I can make sure I was engaging regularly. And the 4th one was I can encourage the people in the community to engage.
Yeah. So what's it like managing a 1,200 person community? I mean, most people watching this, they're nowhere near that mark. So they're thinking they'd probably tear their hair out managing so many people. Is it quite easy to do? How have you found it?
It's not always easy, but the culture I have created within the community is I'm not the only one.
Sure.
So within my community, my top, let's say 20 to 30 people are hyperly engaged, like crazy engaged. We just got our 7th fire icon person.
Awesome. That's brilliant.
I've got significant portions of my community. I've got 1 level reward level 8. I've got,
that's amazing.
5 to 10 in number 7. Like I have out of that 1,200, I've probably got close to 100 people who are level 4 or more in their rewards levels.
Amazing.
So, we have super hyper engagement, and they guard that community. It's not just my community. It's their community. Sure. And the funny thing is now, they don't even call it the community anymore. They call it the family. They're like, welcome to the family. Come join us. We want more people in the family. Come be a part of our family. We love you. We want you. So the thing is that, while I am very engaged in the community and, I'm constantly, I don't have to do all the work. I just, my engagement's usually 200 to 400 activities a day. That's predominantly liking, commenting. I do have things I post every single day that help drive up engagement, but I let them be them. One of the things I see, especially in crafting communities, is the person who starts the community figures they have to answer all the questions. I rarely answer a question. Yeah. If somebody in the group asks a question, except for a new person,
so
like if that's their first day, whatever.
Sorry, I was going to say.
I answer right away.
Sorry to interrupt you. I was going to say, what I generally do if somebody posts something, I don't comment on it straight away. I like to give members the
No.
chance to actually comment before I do, because you know what happens when you're an owner of a community. As soon as you answer that question, that post doesn't get any more comments on it, does it? So I generally like to wait. Do you do the same thing?
Oh yeah, and I mean, my people are so crazy engaged that they 50 million of them and answered even half the time before I see the post for the first time. So, but the thing is I encouraged that
Sure.
engagement. And I rewarded it and I acknowledged it. So right from the very beginning, if somebody posted and another person answered it, I went in and I said, "Great answer, thanks," and I would put their
Okay,
name.
brilliant. That's yeah,
Right? The thing is you reward the behavior you want to
sure.
see. So if I want them answering questions, and you see, the thing is I'm their fearless leader. I'm the one they all look up
Sure.
to. But they also recognize that I'm a person like they are. I don't have all the answers, but I've become their fearless mama bear who loves them, protects them, and gives them opportunities. But the thing is, right from the very beginning, I made it clear I don't have all the
No,
answers.
that makes sense.
And one of the reasons why we have the community is because I don't have all the
Sure,
answers.
sure.
But there's someone in the community who
Yeah,
does.
I love
Right.
that.
So yesterday there was a question about a specific knitting machine. I don't have that knitting machine, and it's been a while since I had that knitting machine. I couldn't answer the question. So I knew a couple of people in the group who had that machine. So I tagged them. I'm like, can you help this person? Right. And, within an hour or two, the two of them had already
Wow.
responded, and took some pictures and, showed her what she needed to do. And I didn't have
That's
to.
brilliant. So you have grown your community so quickly. It's very unusual for that to happen. Normally, it's kind of like a very steady curve, and yours just shot like a rocket ship. And because of that, you got some interest, didn't you, recently? We both celebrated that interest. You got an exclusive mention in the Skool news. Pretty much a YouTube channel that everybody watches. The owners of the actual community are actually hosting that. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Because I can't believe not many community owners and their communities get mentioned in the Skool news. What did that feel like?
I was like, thing is, I didn't even know they were going to feature
Right.
me. And normally, like when they release the Skool news on Tuesdays, I usually watch it live, right? But I was doing a 5-day sweater challenge in my community at that same time. So I didn't even see it. And then Eva Raposa, she usually does like a summary of the
Sure.
Skool news, and she posted in Schoolers, and she had tagged me in it. Now you got to understand, when you have 1,200, 1,100, 1,000 people in your group, your notifications are
Yeah.
nuts, right? Like my notifications are crazy. So I kind of saw, Eva Raposa mentioned you, tagged you. I didn't really pay attention to that. I'm like, okay, like, so it was like probably an hour or two later, and I finally was going through, and I'm like, okay, this one looks kind of
Okay.
weird, so I'll check it
Okay.
out, right? And then I read her post. I'm like, what? Like, where's the replay? Where's the replay?
Oh my
But
gosh.
the thing is as surprising as it wasn't as
No.
surprising. One of the things I did, and it was intentional. My community has a goal. We want to be the number one community on Skool. That's our
Okay.
goal. That's our goal for
I like that goal.
2026. We want to be the number one discoverable community
I like that.
on Skool. But they also, and I've also shared with them some of my personal
Right.
goals. See, I'm a teacher, I'm a trainer. I love to help. I love to support. I love to watch people grow. I'm the type of person that loves to get up on stage. Like, that's me, right? Like, I liked being noticed. So what I had intentionally been doing, and it got me some negative attention, which turned into positive
Right.
attention. I was posting in the Schoolers group, and I was posting content and, engagement and things like that. And I was commenting, and I was commenting in the wrong way. So I got a message, "Hey, Kim, do you understand our Schooler rules?" And so I apologized, and I said, okay, I won't do that again. And then I was posting too many times in a
Welcome
day,
to the
so I got
club.
another community person like, okay, you can't do this, and I'm like, okay. But I started talking to her a little bit, right? Like I didn't get mad, upset. I apologized. I said okay, and I'm like, what can I do? And she told me, you know, you can post 3 times a week, so I'm only posting 3 times a week now. But I said to her, I sent her the link, and I said, you know, I really want to just be helpful on for other schoolers, and that is one of my
Mhm.
goals. I said, you know, what did you think of the post? So she's been sharing some ideas and back and forth. So the thing was that, you know, it's not easy to get Sam's
No,
attention, but I wanted to be consistently in the schoolers, providing content, providing actionable steps, encouragement, things like that. And the game plan was over time to be
of course.
noticed.
Just not so quickly.
No, I didn't expect it so quickly. I definitely didn't. But you know, the thing is that uh it's okay to want to be noticed. It's how you do
Sure.
it.
So I want to,
And I'm willing to pay the price of
absolutely.
consistency and being helpful and just being supportive. And over time that gets you
Absolutely,
noticed.
absolutely. Now, I want to switch gears a little bit. I want to speak about some advice for aspiring hobbyists like you. That you know that you're inspiring a lot of people at the moment. Not even just in the hobby niche, but in other niches as well, which is fantastic. I congratulate you for that. But I want you to give me some advice for specific hobbyists that are looking to do the same thing that you're doing. Is there anything that you can actually offer them as in way of advice for them?
So first of all, have something that's attractive in the
Right.
community that they want. So in my case, it's, you know, it's the free beginners course, and I offer a free pattern each month. So there's the core thing is that people ultimately in hobbies, they want to accomplish
Mhm.
something. Now in crafting, it's very specific, you're making
Right.
something, right? But even in a hobby group, you do that hobby for the sense of accomplishment that it gives you. So when you're designing your group, you want to design it around them creating or accomplishing something that they want. And here's the thing, I understood that circular machine knitters is such a very unknown niche. And even knitting, crocheting, they're like, oh, you're into that knitting thing. You know, that's what people say to you. Oh, you're into that knitting thing. As if the things we make have no value, right?
Uh,
And for me, it was like, no, knitting has value, right? The things that I make, you know, 15, 20 years ago, I started crocheting because I wanted to make blankets, and it was faster to crochet a blanket than knit
sure.
a blanket. So I made my daughter a blanket. Well, over the next 15 years, I then had to make every other family member a blanket. Do you know they still have those
Oh,
blankets
do
to
they
this
really?
day? They still use
That's
them. They
crazy.
still love them. And every family member gets a blanket.
I like that.
And they all use it and they all love it. It's something that came from my heart to
Yeah, of
them,
course. And they want to keep
right?
it, of course.
And so, you know, I understand knitters, I understand crocheters, I understand that need to create something that is valuable. I also understand that a lot of times people think it's
Hmm.
nothing, right? So, you know, when you have a craft community or you have a hobby community, you know, that it fills this need, either a creative need or a need to accomplish
Sure.
something. So make the core of your group about accomplishing something and then celebrating it.
Excellent. Now, we spoke before the interview, and you were happy to actually show some of the numbers because I have a school community, and I try to tell them that this is not easy. From outside looking in, it probably looks easy, but it's one of the hardest things you can do. And I'm not trying to discourage anyone. I just want to be real with people that are actually either looking to start a community or actually running a community at the moment. But you were allowing us to actually look into your window of your school community and also give some figures as well. I don't know if you mind doing that.
No, no, not at all. Not at all. Here's the thing. when you've been an entrepreneur for a long time, when you've studied marketing, you've studied sales, all of that, you understand the underlying numbers underneath. And when you understand and truly appreciate the numbers, that's when you can succeed. So when you have unrealistic expectations because you don't understand the numbers, that's when you get frustrated and quit.
Absolutely.
So I remember many, many years ago, Jim Rohn had done this teaching, and in the middle of the teaching, that teaching set me free. That teaching set me
Okay.
free. He was talking about more like sales, recruiting, things like that. But in the middle of this, he said, "Did you know that most batters strike out 7 out of 10 times? They only hit the ball 3 out of 10 times, and they make millions hitting the ball 3 out of 10 times." And when I heard that, all of a
Yep.
sudden my perspective changed, and I realized that I was going to have to put in a whole lot more effort. But if I could succeed only 3, not even
Sure.
pass, 10
Yep.
times, 3 out of 10 times, if I could get so that I was succeeding 3 out of 10
Yep.
times, that would change my
Okay.
life. So when you look at your numbers in your community, and I've been watching the schoolers, and I've been asking people and different things and watching what different people post and respond to questions and stuff like that. So a 4% conversion rate from a free to a paid member is a good conversion
Okay.
rate. 4 out of 100 people converting from free to paid, and that's a good
Sure.
number. So most people are probably anywhere in the 1 to
Yes, you're
3%,
correct.
and that can feel so discouraging because you're adding on all of these people and no one's going from your free to
Sure.
paid. But understand that that is the number. And if you understand that's the number and you can accept that that is the number, then you build according to that number.
Excellent.
So, when you've got a 1% conversion rate and 99 people have joined and none of them have converted over, that soon someone's
So
going to
going to
become a
convert.
paid
Yeah.
member.
I think it's the misconception, isn't it? That when you get like 30 or 40 people in, you can start monetizing. And do you know what? And some people do, but it's not the norm, is it? That is not normal. You do generally work on the figures that you've just given us, really, on the conversion rate. And like you said, it's really important to know those figures, because when you know those figures, it kind of rewires your brain a little bit on what you, as a community owner, have to do.
Yeah, and the thing was, because tiers hadn't happened when I first started, like I started my community on October 17th and tiers wasn't released till the end of the month. And end of October. So I just spent that time getting free people in. So I probably had 400 people by the time tiers
Okay.
came. And I wasn't sure what to expect, to be honest. I mean, I kind of knew the numbers, but my numbers were a little higher in the beginning because I offered basically founding
Right. Okay.
prices. So I didn't start out at full price. I'm building up to full
Sure.
price because what happens is when people don't know you, okay, when you're not already a big name, you have to build
Yeah.
trust. And one of the ways you can build trust in the beginning is by having that founding group of people who pay a lower
Sure.
price. And you share with them, this is the founding members price. So, this price is going up. If you want to get in at the lowest price it's ever going to be, now's the
Sure.
time. Right? So that helped get more members in. And then I did like a 2-day Black Friday special, not on Black Friday. I actually did it before Black Friday because I knew if I waited Black Friday, people have
Yeah,
already
of
spent
course.
their money. So I did it like sort of mid-November. But I did sort of a Black Friday special for 2 days only. I lowered the annual
Sure.
price. So I actually have both a monthly price and an annual price for both of my
Okay.
tiers. And so when you have both, what happens is that the annual price gives you cash flow, the monthly price builds your residual.
Love that. I love that idea. And have you got a higher tier as well? So you've got obviously a free tier, then you've got a mid-level tier. Do you have a higher tier as well?
Yeah. So the mid-level tiers for people who want to expand out their skills, access the full pattern library, take the classes, the courses, those types of things. The level above it is for people, they get everything in the first level, but the second level is for people who actually want to make money from their knitting. So it's actually customized for them. And I do a one-on-one with them to find out how they want to make money. Because there's lots of different ways you can make money with your knitting. And, I'm because I've been an entrepreneur a long time, I can help them in those first steps on how to make money, things that they can do, all that kind of stuff. And so I'm building out like a VIP program for those who want to make money with their knitting.
Excellent. And can you tell me as well, obviously you're still got your Facebook group, or have you still got the Facebook group? And you're still got people coming in from this, obviously slower now. Are you still doing YouTube? Are you still doing YouTube in order to drive traffic to your Skool community?
Yeah, I had to take a break from YouTube for a bit because the Skool community was really demanding. And one of the things I did, because I wanted to really build out the pattern library, and I won't do this again, and the community supports me in this decision, I had done what I called knit miss. So for like 23 days straight, I released a new pattern every day
Wow.
for 6 days a week. I took Sundays
Wow.
off. So that was crazy trying to prep all of that and
I
film
bet.
it and create the patterns and all that. It really wore me out. And everybody's like, "You're nuts." I'm like, "Yeah, I know, but I promised this to you, so you're getting it." Uh, next, I'm already planning ahead for next year, and I think we'll start in October, and I'm only going to release one pattern a week.
Excellent.
So, um,
Look, Kim,
everybody's like, "Kim, you look so tired." Yeah, I am. They're like, "Please don't do this again next year." Like, but what it did is it really helped expand out my pattern library,
excellent.
right? But because I was doing that, and then beginning of January we had the 5-day sweater challenge. Those were big events, and I took some time off over Christmas. So I'm now starting to do YouTube videos
Excellent.
again.
Glad to
And
hear it.
you've been so helpful, Des, in giving me, content ideas. And I interviewed Des yesterday, and one of the things that you and I had talked about on that, because you had sent me a list of content, and I had said to you, I said, yeah, but when people get tired of the same thing like over and over again,
Sure.
because that was one of my
Yeah.
mindsets, right? Like, okay, you do a video on one topic once, and you don't, and you're like, no, you just reframe it, come at it from a different position.
Exactly.
And I thought about that, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I can wrap my head around that.
It makes sense though, doesn't it, really, if you think about it? But no, and I appreciate you taking the tips on board as well, because not everybody does, so I appreciate that. Thank you. So look, Kim, thank you so much for this anyway. I really appreciate it. I know you're a busy lady, and I don't want to take up much more of your time. Thank you so much for doing this. Thank you as well for giving the tips to hobbyists and anyone else that's starting and managing their community at the moment. So let us know where people can find you. Where's the best place to actually get hold of you?
So probably the best place is on Facebook. You can find me, Kim Thompson Pinder. I'm the only Kim Thompson Pinder, so I'm really easy. Though make sure you access my profile, not my page, because I never check the page. You can find me on Facebook under Circular Machine Knitting. That's my
Okay.
group. On YouTube, we're Circular Machine Knitting. On Skool. Skool's probably the easiest place right now because I'm on there all the time. So it's Circular Machine Knitting Addie, and people ask what Addie is. Addie is the main brand of circular knitting machines, and I added that on there just to become more discoverable. But yeah, come and find me on Skool. I'm in the Schoolers group all the time. You can look me up as a member, and there's a chat button. Send me a message. Love to connect with you.
Excellent. Well, Kim, thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming on this, and good luck for your YouTube channel and your Skool community in the future.
Thanks so much, Des. I've really enjoyed this interview.
Great. Thank you very much. Take care.